Hi, so this is that big aspen tree painting that I was working on. I've done a lot of the leaves here and I've started working on the bark. And I'm going to start working right about here. So I'll set up my camera. Get a good angle. Okay. So these are my paints. And this isn't white, it's a gray, a little darker gray, a yellowish gray. And not black, sort of like a dark brown, and then a reddish brown. So these colors are the main colors of the bark. I've been using this reddish color for the bark and the branches that are in the foreground, and then the darker black for the trees in the background that are darker, like this one. And I'm using a 5/0 round brush and 1/8 angled brush to blend. So you can probably see there's some texture in the background, and that's why I left this part, the trees, last, and why I didn't paint over them in the first place, because I want them to be smooth, and I want that smooth texture sort of juxtaposed against the texture of the background. Hi Wyatt, thank you. Hello tuber. I don't think I mentioned it in the past videos, but something I learned while painting these aspens was that they're self-pruning. So that's why they have all these like knots and eyes and nubbies all over the place, because as they grow taller, they actually drop their own branches. And so this is where the tree is actually healing itself. And that's why you don't see many branches on aspen trees close to the ground. Wondering if a little light would be helpful. What is that? All for my burgers? Ben Gamer, hi. Welcome. So one thing I'm doing as I'm using this brush to blend is actually dipping it in a little linseed oil to get off some of the paint, and then I grab some new paint. And I'm pretty much going back over everything I'm doing just to smooth out that texture. There might be a little texture left over, and that's fine. But one thing I really like is how this is sort of abstract in the background, and then this is more realistic. So here I'm just adding a bit of light, warm shadow to give the tree a bit of dimension. So the light source is coming from over here, this way. So the shadow's on the right side. Hi, Albert. Thanks for joining. Let me know, by the way, anyone who's watching, if you have any questions about my paint or brushes, and if you're watching this after the fact, just put a timestamp. One of the things I'm gonna do now is take or pull out some of this brownish color sideways. So if you get up close to an aspen tree, they kind of have these horizontal, they're subtle, but they're like these horizontal ridges. Sometimes they're smooth, but I just want to capture some of that texture here. So I'm just layering the grays. Pulling this out and then softening some of those edges. so many little details. I don't really mind though. You know, after a while, this just becomes meditative. And then the whole day goes by. Hi, Lewis. Yeah, I have my computer pulled up so I can see comments and respond, but I don't look at it every minute. Yeah, there's just, yeah, I'm not sure what to say. I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm gonna do some live painting, and my mom's like, well, that might be as boring as watching paint drying. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, you know, maybe it is, but maybe not. I don't know. I just thought I'd share what I was doing. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, is there any, all right, because, you know, we're chatting now. Do you need me to move the camera? Is this close enough? Or what else would you like to see here or know as I'm painting? Oh, is there a color I would really die to have in a gallon? Lapis lazuli, yeah, of course, man. I think that's really hard to get right now just because of the situation in Afghanistan. Oh, good. I'll leave the camera where it is. Yeah, lapis. You know, I checked like Michael Harding, Rublev. I'm not sure if any of them are actually selling lapis lazuli right now, but that would be a really cool one. I guess for me, I've been curious to try genuine, vermilion. I don't know if I need a gallon of it, but I would be kind of nervous to like work with it just because it's so toxic. You know, I work with lead, but like mercury is like even more toxic than lead. And I've also wanted to try genuine manganese blue. And I've seen a couple tubes on eBay, but they're really expensive. Yeah, I don't know about Chile, actually. I haven't heard of it coming from anywhere else. I think it got its name because it means beyond the sea. So it was like so exotic. I mean, it's still rather exotic, isn't it? Ryan DeMar? I haven't heard of him. Who is this person? He's on, oh, okay. Where is he based? eBay, but does he make his own paints? Canada. My fellow Canadian. Well, I'll check him out when I'm done. To be honest, these days my favorite color is Ercolano red. So I'll take a gallon of that. Yeah, same. I think if I lived back in the day, I would have happily used all the brightest and loveliest colors that were probably so toxic. Like, I feel like people today, Napoleon died from it. Oh, wow. I'm not familiar with that story. I I don't know, it's funny. When I'm in my art studio, I just feel like I get so much joy from color. And sometimes you go out or you turn on the news or whatever, and people always find something to complain about. But you think about all the things that we have now that we didn't have even 100 years ago. And one of those things is all this paint, all this color, and it's amazing. I think it's hard to have a bad day when you have access to all this. Yeah, it is amazing how far we've come since cave paintings. But also, I haven't been to France, where those really old cave paintings are, but I would love to go one day. And I think Picasso actually was deeply inspired by the cave paintings there, because there's something about them, they're like tens of thousands of years old. And there's something in us it must really resonate with. Vasari. No, I haven't tried Vasari. And I actually looked at their website the other day, and I was like, why don't they list their pigments? They just have like random names for paints, but no pigment information. So I didn't want to buy anything. But tell me, have you tried their paints? Yes, you do have to purchase. There's like a minimum for them to ship. The next brand of oil paints I would actually like to try is Williamsburg. I have like a couple of their metallic paints, but they're the same people who make golden heavy body acrylics, and I feel like they're just really thoughtful paint makers. And their customer service is excellent whenever I've had questions. Yes, I've heard that Vasari's sort of thin, runny, if you will. I would be curious to try their earth colors. Maybe one day I will. Maybe after my next big sale or mural. Well, you're definitely making me want to buy more paint. I'll say that. Which, I mean, if I collected anything, it would probably be paint, honestly. Which black do I prefer and why? I just like ivory black, honestly, because I know it's cooler, but for me it's the darkest. It's hard to make something darker. But actually, let's see, like I tried Mars black, and I think lamp black, like a lot of the blacks are carbon based. But I've tried the other ones that aren't carbon based, and I just keep coming back to bone black / ivory black. What about you? Chromatic black, yeah. Yeah, you can get a really cool chromatic black with complementary colors. I mean, do they reflect more light? I haven't noticed that. I guess it depends kind of on the varnish. Yeah, burnt umber and ultramarine. That's probably my favorite chromatic black, just because it's pretty neutral. All right, enjoy dinner. Yeah, I'm gonna do the same soon. The light, I don't know if you can tell, the light's like going down. But enjoy, and I'll see you next time. I'm gonna erase a little bit here. Let's see. Okay. This is all I'm gonna do for now. You can see this is what I've done. This is what I have to do. So I'm gonna be here for a little while. Maybe I'll check back in, maybe I won't, but I'll post a finished photo of the painting